What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Wow, what the fuck?
What's up? It's your boy Kevin on YouTube shit. Hey man, say man, we are lit to man. Turn to motherfucking day. Straight hood outside, big crib in the gang. Straight hood outside shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo, Russia do your thing, and Texas stand the fuck up. Each day is a new day to be a better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring you down, always fight back. Never let somebody tell you, also put yourself in a position you don't belong. Let's stay humble. Let's get on a revolution, on the movement. Keep Yahweh first. Coming to the Black Hebrew Israelite as a real Jew. We out here. Alright. Boom. Today, to motherfucking day. Straight hood outside, big crib in the gang. Straight hood outside shit, man. Turn up, gang. Hey man, say man. Bruh. Y'all know in these YouTube streets, man, there's a lot of shit that be going down, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure to call out all the BS. You feel what I'm saying? Now you know we fuck with our boy Boosie. You know what I'm saying? Congratulations, like I said last video, on him having a kid. But there's a lot of shit that's been coming up out of nowhere. He got a court case that I guess that he had at first won, then they took it back and moved it up to a higher state, like people to look at it, and they trying to get him with another case. So, bro, it's like these motherfuckers are trying to add shit on to Boosie, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all see how, you know what I'm saying, when he first started doing his music scene, they try to get him for a random death. So now, you know, I don't know, everybody been talking about Duke the Jeweler, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit was crazy. That Duke the Jeweler shit that's been going on, man. That's been going on. But also, he talks about Diddy, man. You know, Diddy with the Cassie shit, man. So like I said, man, we should have caught all out the BS, man. You trying to put random bodies on Boosie. I'm like, bro, it don't make sense to me. The Cassie shit, man. Like I said, man, they really trying to bring a lot of niggas down, you know what I'm saying? And Boosie speaking out on the shit, man, you know what I'm saying? With the Cassidy shit, man. So let's get into it. My boy Boosie trying to get that Boosie and stayed up.
Boosie considers bartering for materials to complete the construction of his mother's house.
Hey, you know I always need something, right? I need a stab master. Yeah, I'm finna shake back on the beach. Yeah, I'm finna get back that jail when I'm finna get fined. Yeah, don't play with me. I need a stab master. I'm finna shake these little legs, baby. I need a stab master, man. You're in Atlanta right now. COD. I need a stab master, man. Real shit. I'm trying to get right for the summer. I done turned the whole room into an exercise room.
Summer lit as fuck, nigga.
So if you're in Atlanta right now, you got a stab master wherever you at. I need a stab master, man. I'm starting to work out at 7 o'clock tonight. I need it 7 o'clock tonight.
It's about to
you
get
got a stab
lit.
master. Cash on deck, man. Come get your money.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
You know Montgomery, Alabama, how I'm doing it. Every city I rock with, bro. If the dude out that city, me and him locked in, that's who gonna have the ticket. So if you're in Montgomery, Alabama, you gotta reach out to Road Runner. You already know this. Anywhere around that Gump, you gotta reach out to Road. You know how the Gump be at Boosie house. The Gump gonna be in this month. Pool party, June 22nd, holla. Trail ride this Saturday. Prentice, Mississippi. I will have this pool party tickets available. Everybody in Mississippi asks me, Boosie, I need this pool party ticket. Come to Prentice and get them, man. If not, you know how I do. Just pull up to the gate and pay, man. But if you come to Prentice and get them, they gonna be cheap. You know how I'm is at that gate.
Hell yeah. You know how I'm up and get the fuck away from that gate,
If you plan on coming to the pool party anywhere, I got a concert.
Oh, you got a topless pool party?
I got tickets.
Oh, about to
So
be lit.
tap in, man. You in Mississippi.
Got some hoes in that house. We got some hoes in that house. We got some hoes in the.
But I'm gonna have the tickets with me. Y'all tap in. This Saturday trail ride.
Got the hoes.
Hey, my double XL. Pablo Escobar, you ready? So if anybody got a nice double XL female, my boy Pablo Escobar, he ready, man. Out of control. Big boy right there. Yes, sir.
I seen a video where he said he's gonna sell them bitches.
That's just Pablo. That's just Pablo. That's just Pablo. That's just my Pablo. That's just my Pablo. That's my Pablo. That's my Pablo. That's my Pablo. That's my Pablo. So if you got a girl, you got a female, double XL, tap in right now. Hey, look, man, a lot of people been trying to book me. My shows been going crazy. And I mean, when I get paid or whatever, you know, I put shit to shit I need, you know, instead of trying to expand. And I give you a number, you know, it's the number, but I just thought about it. I need concrete or asphalt. So, I mean, if I done gave you a number, that number go down if you got concrete or asphalt. We can swap it out, you know what I'm saying? I give you a show, you give me some concrete. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
I'm just sending out, you know,
Hey, the
I know they got a lot
man.
of black-owned construction companies. I'm just shooting this out. Somebody might want jump on this, you know what I'm saying? Might want jump on this, so hit the numbers on the line if you know
Yeah.
you want with that. But, you know, I need concrete asphalt, so tap in.
Put that work in. Boosie goes off on Cassie and Ash for trying to take down Diddy.
Celebrity and Mama's been speaking on it, and Boosie seems to have the most candid take on the whole situation. Boosie believes that Cassie and her husband plan to take down
And
Diddy
that's a fact.
his money. So early this morning, Boosie posted this to his Instagram, and he basically said this: "I think Cassie and her husband
try to take down the black man
this
is
whole
insane.
takedown of Diddy and his money. I think her husband had been trying to get her to do this for years to Diddy, but she didn't want to do it because she knew what will come out. Then as a couple, y'all become broke. Now the plot becomes realer by the month. I think the last straw was the Diddy and Carisha relationship. When she saw Carisha with that sign supporting her man at the awards, that did it. A woman scorned is a dangerous, evil MF. Hashtag, yeah, I said it." Now, I'm not going to lie. Boosie might be on to something. It's very interesting that he brought out the Carisha and Diddy relationship, because we know they were going super strong. And he's talking about the night that Carisha came out supporting Diddy at the award show with the sign that said that was her man. That was the last straw. If you don't remember that, take a look at this.
So Diddy was honored with this year's Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2022 BET Awards in Los Angeles, California on Sunday night, June 26. After being introduced by surprise guest Kanye West, who called the bad boy boss his favorite artist, Puff graced the mic and delivered an expectantly spirited acceptance speech. The 52-year-old mogul was full of gratitude to those who helped him along the way, from former collaborators, the late notorious B.I.G., and inspirations Heavy D, Bobby Brown, his alma mater, Howard University, and God himself. Diddy also gave a special shout-out to the women in his life, including his mother, Janice Combs, his late ex-wife and mother of 3 of his children, Kim Porter, and his former longtime partner, Cassie, who he thanked for holding me down in the dark times. Although Diddy made it clear during the speech he wanted to thank every single person, even if I didn't say your name, Some viewers couldn't help but
I do think they trying to take niggas down. You know what I'm saying? Like,
cheered Puffy on by holding
that's
up
what the
Puffy's
system
side of the
does.
audience. That man thanked
It use people that you know that have beef with you in a game to get from you, to bring your ass down.
Making the moment even more awkward, a video circulated online showing Miami City Girls partner in rhyme, JT, suddenly nudging her to sit down and put the sign away. Young Miami didn't seem too bothered by the apparent snub, though. Girl, please, she wrote in response to Wu's tweet. In fact, she doubled down on her Diddy support by tweeting Go Poppy, along with a red love heart emoji. Rumors of a Diddy and Young Miami romance have been swirling ever since the pair stepped out together holding hands at Quality Control CEO Pierre Thomas's birthday party last June. While the City Girl star has remained coy about the relationship, it's clear she's highly protective of her man, as OnlyFans model Gina discovered last month after posting a photo of Puff kissing on her cheek on social media. Somebody please give this girl some attention, Miami tweeted during a heated back and forth with Gina. Notice me, please, B, go sit down. We see you, relax, it's okay. You've been around, just around for years. Been waiting on this moment.
So yeah, that was Young Miami supporting Diddy, and then all of a sudden, he shouting out Cassie. So Cassie probably just, that was the last straw, and that's what Boosie is saying. Take a look at this other clip about Carisha and Diddy's relationship.
Puff was on his what they call victory lap, if you will. Just got celebrated from MTV, just got the key to New York City, changed his shit to love, was doing so good, he gave people made publishing back. He was doing everything to change his reputation. But it was one thing that I think the thing that brought him down was Carisha. What do you mean? Hey, bro, don't nobody piss your ex bitch off more than you turning up the next bitch. Everything he promised for Cassie, he gave to Carisha. He gave her a show. He gave her a deal.
But she got the white dude. She chose the white dude.
Like this,
the
like
fuck?
And if you Cassie, you looking spent 13 years with you begging you to give me that, and you giving it to this bitch, and now you make me penny pitch. Now I'm gonna sue your ass. Because that's what a woman would do. Like, dog, you turned up. That's why it's very dangerous. Turning up the next person. Turned up your girlfriend. And by the way, he did right by Carisha. That's what he's supposed to do. But now Cassie is like, what about me and all the shit I endured? Dog, that's why he got a term called the starter wife. The starter wife always goes through the bullshit first. He was on.
Wow. So if you guys don't know who that is, that's Ray Daniels. He is a music executive. Been in the music industry for about 20 years. So he knows a little bit about certain situations. He's been in rooms with all these guys. And he's basically saying what Boosie said. Boosie said that Boosie said that Cassie was very jealous and upset, and she cracked everything off. Because remember, we didn't know none of this until that video came about Cassie and Diddy, that fight in the hotel. Nobody knew none of Diddy's stuff for all these years, and then all of a sudden it surfaced. Why do you think? Because Cassie pressed the line.
How are we feeling about Cassie now? I just want to say this. A long time ago, I said, I don't believe Cassie. I don't believe she was ever a victim. And let me tell you something. It's so many people talking about, she didn't want to upset him. She didn't want to this. They was texting. She was in a safe space. You mean to tell me she can leave the relationship, go get married to the help, unharmed, but she was that scared of him? No. I said a long time ago,
she was coercing the shit. She's manipulating.
When he saw how
she's a master manipulator.
She started thinking about all the disgusting stuff she was doing with him, and she left with nothing. And she like, damn, he just turned Miami up overnight. Turned to a millionaire overnight. Young Miami ain't even rapping no more because she got her own show. She the face of this, face of that. She was getting money. He put Miami in position, and he never put Cassie in position. Nobody is a sex slave. I'll tell you right now, I know some females who are into all that stuff that they saying. I would never expose because I'm the type that listen but don't judge. But I can tell you right now, I know some females who into everything that they're saying. Nobody's forcing them. Nobody's forcing them. It's easy to paint somebody as a monster because they're doing vile acts. I know I'm turned up and they more turned up than me. Scorpios, most Scorpios, I'm going to be so real with y'all. Scorpios are turned up to the max. I'm with whatever my man with. Whatever he want to do, I want to do too. It ain't really too much that I wouldn't do with my man. I believe that this man put his hands on her because we saw it. But those freak offs, I believe she liked to do it, just like I know some females that like to do it. I had a female try to convince me that I should get beat on by my man. Like, just try it. Let him do it. Let him do it. Let him put it in your face. I said, sweetheart, I use Noxzema. I refuse. He doesn't even eat healthy enough for me to be trying that. Like, no, let me stop. females who are in.
That is wild. Man, I'm starting to learn stuff about women more and more every day. Even the nicest and the sweetest looking, the church girls, all of them, they just, oh my gosh. Cassie, I would have never expected this is what you was with. Yeah, Miami.
Man, you gotta think the nastiest shit from the prettiest hoes.
I would have never expected anything like this. But
to be honest,
Boosie does. Boosie ain't playing. Boosie know what's up. Boosie said Cassie was with it and so was her husband. It's a mastermind plan. Let us know what you think. Is Boosie, is he lying or is he flying?
Boosie been through a lot of shit, so he knows that they'll make up some shit out of nothing to try to take black niggas down. With the shit coming up next, we gonna talk about. Hey man, say man, shout out to those mystery. Man, you know, they trying to, I feel like they trying to frame a lot of black rappers into like stuff that they didn't do. So we finna look at Boosie and see like how they been trying to get niggas out the paint.
When he got shot the last time, that was his sixth time.
This is Terry Boyd.
So don't act like I was on trial for a good Samaritan.
Terry Boyd was more gangster than Boosie.
Your uncle got by your dad.
Baton Rouge was quiet on the night of October 20th, 2009. Terry Boyd had recently got out of prison. He was 35, trying to get his life back on track. For now, that meant staying at his sister's house on Vermilion Drive, a modest home in a relatively quiet neighborhood. Inside that house, Terry was surrounded by family. There was no party, no argument, no commotion, just a man on a couch, fresh out of prison, living out a slow night under a dim ceiling fan. Boyd wasn't new to danger. His body, according to the coroner, told a story of its own. 15 bullet scars and a previous slug still lodged somewhere inside him. But that night, there was no warning, no chase, no face-to-face standoff, just a blink of a porch light.
Bro, when you get out of jail, bro,
a clear line of sight from the yard to the couch.
Shit can happen.
Around 1 a.m, gunfire ripped through the window. The official call came in just after 1:30 a.m. on October 21st, 2009. Officers with the Baton Rouge Police Department arrived, and what they found inside was chaos. Glass everywhere, a shattered window, shell casings just outside, and Terry Boyd, deceased, on the floor. He'd been sitting in the den, the same spot he spent most of the night. The shooter never stepped inside. They didn't have to. Investigators determined that at least 6 shots had been fired from outside the house, through the window. A 9mm, close range, quick, deliberate. There was no forced entry, no struggle, no words exchanged. Whoever pulled the trigger came for one reason, to hit. Police combed the yard with flashlights. Shell casings glittered in the grass, catching moonlight like teeth inside the house. Blood pooled beneath the couch and traced into the fibers of the rug. Family members were still there, frozen, panicked. Boyd's sister, the woman who let him stay with her after prison, could barely speak. Ben Hawkins, her boyfriend, was the one who called it in. A neighbor told police that he had seen 2 black men fleeing the scene. One wore a white t-shirt. They moved fast, cutting through a fence line and disappearing near the tracks. It was dark, no faces, no names, just silhouettes and the sharp scent of gunpowder clinging to the air. 10 days after Terry Boyd was gunned down in his sister's home, his family gathered at Winfield Farewell Home in Baton Rouge. Boyd was laid to rest on October 31st, 2009. It was Halloween, but the only thing haunting that chapel was grief. They called Terry by his name.
So this when he just got out of jail, bitch.
And old acquaintances.
They are looking for this nigga to get out of jail.
Filled the pews slowly. There was no cameras, just people coming to bury a man who was trying to make his
way. The game's so cold, they'll wait for you outside when you get out of jail to kill you.
Wasn't in headlines yet, but it would be. This case was about to catch fire.
As soon as you get in the court,
gathered in that room would soon find themselves in a courtroom, listening to prosecutors say that Boyd's hit wasn't just senseless, it was ordered.
Terry Boyd was really finna knock Boosie off. That's why Boosie had to get him gone. Boosie was really scared of Terry Boyd, for real, for real. If we keeping it a buck, we could get into some real history.
From the moment Terry Boyd's body hit the floor, the streets started talking. The official line was still blank. No arrest, no charges, no suspects. But Baton Rouge didn't wait on the paperwork. It didn't need a badge to make a connection. People in the neighborhoods, in the prisons, in the clubs, they already had a few names in mind. According to some, a jailhouse informant named Lee Lucas sent a warning to rapper Lil Boosie. The message was simple. Terry Boyd was planning to jack and slap him. Street code for robbing and humiliating. The prosecution would later say that was all it took. A perceived threat from a man Boosie didn't trust. A man with history. A man now freshly out of prison.
See, Terry Boyd's finna knock off Boosie because Boosie was beating on his sister, which is the baby mama of the little girl.
Another version of the rumor said it had nothing to do with Boosie at all. That Boyd had robbed the wrong man inside, Michael Ghost Judson. And then Judson was the one who wanted him deceased. Judson, they say, had money, access, and a short fuse. He was also connected to some of the same people Boosie ran with. And when Boyd got out of prison, Judson didn't forget. But Judson was hit before the trial. Others argue that Boyd had too many enemies to count, that he was reckless with who he crossed, and someone finally caught him slipping.
You guys have one kid together or two? One. You prided yourself with giving all your kids a new car when they turned, 16? Yeah.
But for some, those theories didn't hold for long. Not when word got around that a kid named Marlo Mike had started confessing. Marlo Mike was a teenager who was soft-spoken and thin. He was always in the background of someone else's story until the bullets started flying. Then it was his time to shine. According to Baton Rouge police, Michael Louding wasn't just a kid with a gun. He was a professional, cold, calculated, a hitman who, between 2008 and 2010, allegedly carried out as many as 6 hits, sometimes for money, sometimes for loyalty, sometimes for nothing but the silence that followed. But it was the hitting of Terry Boyd that brought everything crashing down.
Boosie did what he was supposed to do, because Terry Boyd definitely's gonna get Lil Boosie out of here. Pittman, he a rat. He told on Marlo Mike, got 20 years, knocked off his prison sentence. But he ain't tell on Boosie, though. That's why Boosie went free. So he told on Marlo Mike and Ghost when it took Lil Terry Boyd up out of here. Pittman was the driver, though. You know what I'm saying?
Louding was arrested in May of 2010 and interrogated for hours without a lawyer or parent present. Just a teenager in the police station, slowly realizing that he had talked himself into a corner. What came next would shape the entire case. He confessed.
How many times did you shoot him, Marlo Mike? About 3 or 4. Howard, who gave you money? Marlo Mike. Boosie. Howard, how much? Marlo Mike, $2,800.
They called him a hitman for hire, a teenager turned assassin under the influence of fame, money, and music. Suddenly, the rumors had a face, a name, a hitman, and a question no one wanted to answer out loud. If Marlo Mike pulled the trigger, who told him to? On tape, Michael Louding admitted to shooting Terry Boyd through the window of that Vermilion Drive home. He walked detectives through the timeline, and most importantly, he said Lil Boosie paid him to do it. $2,800 cash. That moment, a teenager calmly explained a murder for hire tied to one of the South's biggest rappers was the bombshell prosecutors needed, and they knew.
Because everybody know everybody at this point.
Wouldn't hold up without a fight.
We watched the video yesterday.
He was a convicted child. Convicted. He beat 5 charges. He was a known robber in the city.
Oh yeah, remember this? We was talking about this shit.
He been shot 29 times on 6 different occasions.
Oh, so that's
if
true.
anybody came to my trial, you would have saw his body up there with 29 marks in it. 29 times shot.
Yeah, Boosie beat the case.
On 6 different occasions.
All new tonight from Baton Rouge, a prosecutor says rapper Lil Boosie hired a hitman to kill another man.
By the time Lil Boosie went on trial for that hit, the courtroom felt like a stage. The state called it the state of Louisiana versus Torrance Hatch. But to the rest of Baton Rouge, it was Boosie versus the system. Marlo Mike had already confessed to the hit. In that taped interview, he told police that Boosie paid him $2,800 in small bills to take Boyd out. He said Boosie handed him the cash personally. But by the time the trial began, Lowney had changed his story completely. He told the courtroom he lied during the interrogation, that he hadn't hit Boyd, that Boosie never paid him a dime, that he'd been threatened by detectives, told his mother and stepfather would be arrested if he didn't talk. He claimed they said Boosie had put a price on his head, $25,000, to have him hit, and that he panicked. The jury looked at him and looked at the evidence, because there was more than just a confession. There was a tattoo. A photo taken 2 weeks after Boyd's hit showed Louding in Boosie's house, getting fresh ink across his stomach, an AK-47, and above it the words, "Yo Boosie, who's Who's next? When asked about the tattoo in court, Marlo Mike shrugged it off. It's just a tattoo, he said. It don't mean nothing. That flip didn't stop prosecutors. They had something else. Boosie's own music. On the night Terry Boyd was hit, Boosie had been in his home studio recording a track. The song was called 187, a reference to the California Penal Code for homicide. The lyrics were aggressive, targeted, and some of them mentioned a gray Monte Carlo, the same kind of car Boyd was known to drive. One line stood out. Yo, Marlo, he drive a Monte Carlo. I want him gone today. Here go to K. K, slang for money. Hours later, Boyd was shot Rwanda. And just after that, another song, Body Bag. In it, Boosie rapped about brains on the wall and said, rock-a-bye, baby. Prosecutors said it wasn't a coincidence. They said it was a confession. The state painted my music wrong, countered Boosie. My music is violent, but not all of it. I have songs about God, my kids, and telling other people's kids to chill out and go to school and do right. My music helps most kids avoid that street life because it scares them. My fans aren't blind to the consequences. Another piece of evidence was a phone call that Boosie had made to the mother of one of his children, in which he threatened her and their shared child, as well as made vague references to the hit of Terry Boyd.
The video says you're busy, that's all it says. Like your bitch says, what the fuck gotta do with it? Brother, you ain't do nothing to my brother. I want to see if you can swim like your bitch says. You ain't do nothing to my brother.
So Terry Boyd was her brother? Oh shit! I remember this
shit. The defense
shit.
called no witnesses. They didn't need to. They said the burden of proof was on the state, and the state had failed to meet it. On May 11th, after 9 days of testimony, the jury came back not guilty. Boosie broke down in court. His mother cried beside him. Outside, supporters erupted in cheers. He beat it. Someone shouted, "Boosie's home soon." But after Lil Boosie walked out of the courtroom a free man, someone still had to pay. Marlo Mike, then 20 years old, had already confessed to hits. Whether or not Boosie ordered any of them didn't change what came next. In April 2013, almost 4 years after Terry Boyd's passing, Louding stood trial alone. No rap lyrics, no flashy headlines, just a teenager who once bragged about bodies, now fighting for his life.
Yeah, I know we got this other case that Boosie going through on the other case. That shit crazy.
In Boyd's passing, they didn't buy the recantation. They didn't believe he was coerced.
They want to fuck with you, they gonna fuck with you.
Especially when you beat their ass. They made their decision. When sentencing came down, Judge Trudy White didn't hold back. She called Louding a cold-blooded hitman, said he was infected by Boosie, said he had been sent on a hit mission. Then she handed down the only sentence the law allowed, life in prison, no possibility of parole. Louding apologized, told the court he was sorry, and if he'd known the pain he'd caused, he wouldn't have done it. But by then, it didn't matter. The families of Terry Boyd and the others he was linked to were done listening. Louding would spend the rest of his life in Angola, Louisiana's most notorious prison, while Boosie, just a year later, walked free on his separate dope charges. On March 5th, 2014, Lil Boosie was released. The internet exploded. Boosie's free trended worldwide. Fans celebrated like it was a holiday. And Boosie wasted no time before going back to mocking Terry Boyd's passing. Boosie had beaten the hit charge, but for the people who knew and loved Terry Boyd, it wasn't a win, it was a wound, one they carried while the world cheered.
His daughter mad about her uncle still. She mad that Boosie clapped her uncle down. It's as simple as that, man.
In the end, one man was gone, one was locked away, and one went back to the booth. Rest in peace, Terry Boyd. Better your style.
Alright, shout to AI. We finna see. We know Boosie was framed on that shit, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, Boosie, who's next? These are the words tattooed on the stomach of Marlo Mike as he serves his life sentence in the treacherous Louisiana State Penitentiary. Marlo Mike was the man alleged to be Lil Boosie's hitman years back, when Boosie was on trial for murder and facing the death penalty. It all started when Lil Boosie got caught with a blunt in 2009. Being his third offense for simple marijuana possession in Louisiana, he faced a possible 20 years.
I've been given a hard road my whole life, bro. I got 10 years for third offense marijuana. 21 grams, 17 grams.
A Baton Rouge native, Boosie first landed in prison back in 2009 after pleading guilty to a third offense marijuana offense and violating his probation. Once behind bars, the 29-year-old father of 8 is accused of hiring this man, Michael Loudon, to kill a man on the outside.
Loudon, who's still waiting to go to trial himself, is expected to be a star witness for the prosecution.
Well, Marlo Mike initially told police when he was arrested for murder that a guy named Michael Judson told him that Boosie wanted Nussy stamped out for dissing him in a song.
No, but as for the Boosie incident, the so-called beef with me and Lil Boosie, I ain't got no beef with Boosie because I talked to him. I talked to him maybe 4.5, 5 months ago at the airport. I flew in from Mexico. I got a call that he was getting off the airplane. He was on his way to Baton Rouge because I knew somebody on the plane. I said, damn, this is the perfect time I can go catch the little nigga while he by himself.
Right.
Where I ain't no entourage, just me and you, you know. Now, he wasn't acting like no pussy or nothing. You know, he stood up like a man. He talked to me.
So that's sort of hearsay evidence in the first place. If Judson didn't testify that Boosie personally told him he wanted Nussy dead. But Michael Judson's been killed at that point already himself. So really it's like somebody saying Kaiser Sose with Lil Boosie as Kaiser Sose told me to do it. Kind of meaningless. But remember that every time you think of Boosie's case, it basically started with the 17-year-old multi-murderer telling police he heard Boosie wanted someone killed, so he did it. It's so frightening that someone would do that, and it's frightening in a way that Boosie got charged with such barbarous evidence.
Several hundred people will arrive in downtown Baton Rouge tomorrow. 12 of them will eventually be selected to hear the murder case against Baton Rouge rapper Lil Boosie.
The suspected murderer went on to tell detectives that after Nussy was killed, he spoke with the White Me Down rapper who said, "Ghost told me you hit that boy. I like that." Now the police had this to say. They heard from all sources that there was a beef between Boosie and Nussy. Quote, word on the street was that Boosie would pay 25 grand for Nussy's execution. Now, prosecutors should know that type of hearsay is not real evidence, word on the street. And by their own admission, Marlo Mike Loudon didn't even know Boosie at that time, hadn't met him, but took it upon himself, I guess, to win admiration and obtain the $25,000.
So you think he like
His
another
lyrics
YSL?
have
He
won
was
him
like another
several
YSL
notable
Woody?
awards, but those same lyrics are a part of what prosecutors plan to use against Boosie as they try to convince a jury he orchestrated a murder for hire from behind bars, claiming words in his songs allude to murder and money.
There's not a rap artist, a hip-hop artist alive who raps gangster rap that does not use these terms.
The rapper's legal team is headed up by Jason Williams, a defense attorney from New Orleans who's well known in legal circles there.
So again, Marlo Mike did not even know Boosie when he killed Nussy. So how is Boosie being charged as a conspirator in his homicide? Now they ended up not charging him for Nussy, but that's what got the ball rolling.
An East Baton Rouge Parish grand jury has indicted Torrance Hatch, otherwise known as Lil Boosie, on first-degree murder charges. Lil Boosie was indicted in the October 21st shooting death of Terry Boyd. Boosie and a girlfriend, along with a former Dixon Institute guard and inmate, were also indicted on drug charges. Michael Loudon and Adrian Pittman are also indicted on first-degree charges for Boyd's murder.
Prosecutor's own story is they got on to Boosie when Marlo Mike said he killed Nussy because he had heard that Boosie had a $25,000 contract on Nussy, but that Mike didn't even know Boosie at this point.
In the Lil Boosie saga, accused triggerman
So they were trying to say that Boosie put $2,500 to do it, but Boosie didn't know who the fuck this nigga was.
Loudon about a series of police interrogations recorded in the days following the 2009 shooting of Terry Boyd.
So that's why Boosie wasn't charged in Nussy's homicide. He was charged in a later one that we'll talk about in a minute. But you could easily make the case, which apparently Boosie's lawyers did at the trial, because as we know, Boosie was found not guilty, that Marlo Mike was just a crazy kid doing murders. And if in his head he thought Boosie, that was a way to get in good with Boosie, was the most popular man in Baton Rouge, that didn't make Boosie guilty of murder. Fame and fortune bring out strange behavior in people. Mike thought there was nothing valuable about himself except that he was a killer, and maybe he offered that service to Boosie without Boosie asking. 6 homicides, 8 people indicted, and Boosie not convicted.
I wonder if that nigga still alive in the jail.
The courthouse downtown.
Deputies had arrested a man they say threatened to kill East Baton Rouge Parish District Attorney Hiller Moore.
It's tied to the ongoing murder trial of local rapper Lil Boosie. Deputies say a man used his Twitter account to send a message this weekend that said, quote, "I got a sniper rifle for Hiller Moore when he walked out of the courthouse," end quote. Deputies say they located the Twitter account, got a photo of the suspect, and found him sitting in the courtroom where the rapper's trial is going on. They did show the interrogation tape during court today. In fact, there are two tapes. One was where Michael Louding says that there are three people that went to Terry Wood's house and did the shooting. In the second tape, he then implicates himself, saying that he, in fact, shot Terry Boyd. But then during questioning repeatedly over and over from prosecutors, he then changed his story and said he did not kill Terry Boyd. And he says Mr. Hatch, Torrance Hatch, did not pay him to do so. In fact, what he told the courtroom during some of those tapes, he says he was told that by the DA and police that they wanted Torrance Hatch in this case. And he says this is what they told him. He says told him that Torrance Hatch was the man he wanted. He feared that Torrance would come after him for his own death as well.
Life
would come after him.
Yeah, why I said Woody was doing extra work
as
though.
well.
And he clearly said,
this shit wild,
I had
bro.
him in there for nearly 11 hours, and Miss Cummings said, no, it was just 10. Still a long time for somebody to be sitting there not being able to use restroom. And then he says, let's get it straight.
And I know this is
let's
exactly
get
why
it straight. You come a long way, dog.
they want to fuck with niggas, man.
Add to that,
Cause when you
the fact
beat
that
some
he
shit,
tells
nigga.
him that witnesses put you there. Nobody's going to believe you. And he said, and pointed out that he lied about all that. He is lying to coerce this 16, 17-year-old kid into confessing to Soot's homicide.
They were also told that there was no physical evidence that placed him there, but that Louding was told that by the detective who was questioning him. So a lot of questions going back and forth, and Louding simply says he didn't do it, that being the state's star witness. So we'll see what happens in the case from here.
After Louding's testimony in the trial against Boosie, a police sergeant took a stand and denied making any threats towards Louding. And because Marlo Mike said that he had been interrogated for hours and hours on May 14th and May 17th. And during several hours on the stand, the a cop named Johnson, repeatedly denied telling Marlo Mike that Boosie had put a hit out on him, because that's what Marlo Mike said. But in the videotape confession, Marlo Mike is distinctly seen exclaiming, "Dude wanted to kill me. He's out now," on the camera. So the jury seems to thought the police could have told Mike Boosie was planning on having him killed, and that was a way to scare Mike into keeping Boosie in jail to save himself. What would you do in that situation? The kid was 17 and making split-second decisions,
that nigga was trying to kill him.
and a homicide detective was telling him or implying that Boosie was going to kill him. So tell us something to keep Boosie off the streets. And he told them what they wanted to hear, whether it was true or not. Quote, "We didn't have any other baskets," District Attorney Hiller Moore III said in an interview when asked about basing the entire case around a basket of possibly tainted evidence from a single 17-year-old serial killer. So they gave it a try and ran Boosie through the murder trial just to see if they could get lucky, basically. Prosecutors alleged that Marlo Mike's string of murders that you might think were associated with Boosie, but he was only charged with the one, started with the Nussy guy. But after he was sentenced for the case he was eventually found guilty in, the district attorney dropped the first-degree murder charges in the Nussy slang, as well as in some other murders, because there really was no evidence other than his confession, which might have been tainted by the police threatening him.
The police always trying to get
Boosie's mother says she feels good going into the trial and has confidence in the lawyers representing her son.
Because I feel that I have two strong leaders that's representing my son, and I know he did not do it.
The prosecutors and the judge called Marlo Mike, quote, rotten to the core when they sentenced him. So, but yet they believed him when he said he was doing it for Boosie. And like I said, Marlo Mike's going to spend the rest of his life at the Louisiana State Penitentiaries at Angola right now. In a press conference afterward, they called the 15 to 20-year prison terms for 5 other co-defendants named in the 2010 indictment substantial. Quote, we can focus on the fact that Boosie was acquitted, but look at all the consequences that came out of that line of cases. Nobody can call gangster rap fake these days, that's for sure, especially in Louisiana. From New Orleans and now up to Baton Rouge, the bodies have been dropping for decades. And Louisiana is probably the most corrupt state with the most chaotic criminal justice system in the country. From a distance, the boot seems more like a third world country like Jamaica than America. So a quick summary on this confusing case. June 2010, law enforcement charges 7 young guys, teenagers mostly, with a string of murders in Baton Rouge. The main focus was Marlo Mike Louding, just 17 at the time. He was initially charged in the first-degree murder in the death of a local up-and-coming rapper named Chris Nussie Jackson. Another rapper named Mark Gangsta Thomas, a guy named Charles Noki Matthews, and Daryl Bleak Nope. This all happened in 2009 and 2010. He was also hit with a second-degree murder charge in the killing of Michael Smith a week before Christmas in 2009. A few weeks after all these charges, that's when Torrance Lil Boosie Hatch got brought into it, and they said that he had hired Marlo Mike and planned to kill all these people, but they only charged him with hiring him to kill a 35-year-old guy named Terry Boyd, who was killed inside of his house. But in the end, just Marlo Mike ended up convicted of murder. He got sentenced in July of 2013 to life in prison.
Prosecutors have been tight-lipped about their strategy for trial and have not publicly talked about possible motive. Courthouse security will be at high levels, and press conferences, normally held on the sidewalks outside, have been moved inside. In a rare move, jurors will be referred to only by the numbers, not their names. Those jurors who are selected will be sequestered, kept in a hotel away from their families during the trial.
We're here all the time, working the systems jurors do not, and they need to. This is something you're not supposed to get used to, and I'd like to make them as comfortable as possible.
Despite his serious legal troubles, many of Boosie's fans have stayed loyal with postings of Free Boosie common on the internet. A statement jurors will soon be asked to decide if they believe. Tiana Williams, WAFB 9 News.
And from the 9 News fact file now, Hatch is on trial for first-degree murder. However, the death penalty is not on the table if he's found guilty. 700 jurors have been summoned for jury selection this week for the Hatch trial, and others, that's 200 more than normal. You may have little hope.
It was a remarkable turn of events as Louding, at the beginning of the case, turned on all his former associates, cooperating with prosecutors right up until he testified at Lil Boosie's trial. But then in the witness chair, he reversed course and told jurors that neither he nor Lil Boosie had anything to do with Boyd's killing. And of course, Lil Boosie was acquitted after a week-long trial. He ended up doing 52 months in state prison for his initial charges and some charges he caught in jail. Louding's co-defendants took plea agreements of 15 to 20 years. And without Louding's cooperation, prosecutors dismissed all of the charges against 2 guys entirely. A guy named Gerald Williams, who was accused in one of the murders, and a guy named Jonathan Rogers, who was accused in a different murder. So
the only boy got charged with a nigga.
Swept in a few different people outside of Boosie. And Boosie wasn't the only one who didn't get, he went on trial and beat it. The other 2 guys got it kicked out. So the end of this 4-year saga raises a key question. Did the district attorney's office err putting its eggs in one basket, relying so heavily on the word of a man considered a serial hitman?
Good evening, everyone. Andre Morrow, 9 News. You're looking at live pictures outside District Courthouse in Baton Rouge, where the jury has returned a not guilty verdict in the murder trial of Torrance Hatch, Lil Boosie.
Marlo Mike's attorney said her client was with the police for 8 hours being threatened, like with the threat of Lil Boosie doing something to him, before the videotape that was played during court proceedings was even started. She said Loudon didn't understand that he was a target for the police investigating the murders themselves. But at Boosie's trial, he testified he lied about the rapper's involvement both to detectives and a grand jury, because not only did the Baton Rouge police imply Lil Boosie was out to get him, they threatened to lock up his mother and stepfather and said he'd die by lethal injection. A guy named Adrian Pittman, who was charged with helping Loudon kill Boyd, pled guilty to manslaughter and said he was the getaway driver. He testified against Marlo Mike. Pittman also has a tattoo. He has the word Boosie on his chest and a picture of Boosie's face. He got 20 years.
Damn, bitch.
There's a couple more guys. Eddie Stewart was one. He was only 16 when the shootings happened. And those are the guys who all pled out to the 15, 20 years.
All new tonight from Baton Rouge, a prosecutor says rapper Lil Boosie hired a hitman to kill another man after hearing his life was in danger. Opening statements began yesterday in the first-degree murder trial of Lil Boosie, whose real name is Torrance Hatch. Hatch's attorney, Jason Williams, says there was no bad blood between Hatch and the man who was killed. The alleged hitman, Michael Loudon, faces murder charges in the deaths of 6 people over 14 months.
Boosie is back in handcuffs, charged with first-degree murder. The Baton Rouge Homicide Task Force says the rapper was involved in a shooting at this house. Terry Floyd was killed. This man, who is not to be identified, says he spent time on the streets in the same circles as the rapper.
9 times out of 10, the stuff they talk about, some of them don't do it, a lot of do.
He says some of Lil Boosie's songs should offer some clues.
People who talk about murders, they're involved.
District Attorney Hiller Moore says it's quite possible Lil Boosie is connected to a string of murders.
Interesting to see the prosecutor's version of why Boosie even wanted Boyd killed. Supposedly, someone who got out of Angola prison told Boosie that Boyd was in prison, telling people he was going to slap Boosie when he got out. And Boyd ended up getting shot through a closed window as he sat on a sofa inside his house. Prosecutor said this in the newspaper: the way he committed homicides was particularly scary to me. Every time I sat in my living room and watched TV, I thought about how these people had died just sitting on your couch. He so gutlessly shot through the windows. It was not just that he was killing people, it was how he was doing it. And yet this was their star witness. Now, Michael Smith was the final alleged Loudon-related shooting victim in 2009. He was found shot to death behind a residence in the 1700 block of Wisteria Street a week before Christmas. Prosecutors alleged that the Marlo Mike killing spree ended April 1st, 2010, when victims named Matthews and Milton were fatally shot inside a Cadillac in the 1400 block of Monte Sano Avenue in Baton Rouge. And Loudon's attorney emphasized there was no physical evidence linking him to most of the murders and urged jurors not to convict solely on her client's videotaped confession, which is really all they have. If only he wouldn't have talked. Of course, when they have you for 8 hours and only turn the video camera on and they have you saying what they want you to,
And there would be a lot of reaction from this not guilty verdict, as you can imagine. Much more coming up on 9 News at 5. But once again, the verdict for Lil Boosie, not guilty today. 1 hour to deliberate, a jury making this decision.
After the trial, when questioned about the treatment and questioning of juvenile defendant Marlo Mike Loudon, the homicide detectives had predictable comments. One said, quote, he considered Mike Loudon believable. Quote, every time we spoke with him, except for the first time, he was with his lawyer, and his story was always consistent. I found the kid to be really articulate and a smart kid. Nowhere else in this whole case did anybody refer to the 17-year-old high school dropout hitman as articulate and smart, ever. Just to keep it real. But when he was confessing and implicating Boosie, he was suddenly both of those things. I doubt it. The same 2 homicide detectives also said that their work on the Marlo Mike case, it made Baton Rouge safer. Quote, no question, absolutely no question, especially with Mike Loudon off the streets. He was a kid who was familiar with guns, not afraid to use guns and kill people. There's no question. I think some lives have been saved. In April 2013, 3 months before he was sentenced, Marlo Mike sent a letter to Lil Boosie, which said, amongst other things, quote, I miss them good old days. I wish I was still in that world to lay the law down. But did Boosie ask him to send that letter? So that's the tale of Lil Boosie and Marlo Mike. One of those cases to a casual observer might seem like Boosie got away with murder, but when you know the details, you can see how a jury could easily find some reasonable doubt. American dope.
Shout out to Binge Central. See, they keep on putting stuff on Boosie, man. They talking about Duke the Jeweler.
These type of situations happens every day. Every day.
Man. At the end of the day, when you got money and power, man, shit just randomly just get put on you.
Hey, the internet, y'all got us all the way up, man. We met that dude, Duke the Jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot.
Because I keep on hearing about Duke the Jeweler, but nothing happened, you know what I'm saying? They just trying to frame niggas.
In these spots just to hang out. So what I'm saying is, they allege that Boosie was there, and of course we see the pictures, and Jay Prince was there, Jr. So this is a lot of power in one spot. So there's nothing that's moving or happening in that particular area that they don't know what's going on.
I'm just speaking on it because they keep attaching it to your name, your brand. A Duke the Jeweler situation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like almost everything is keep on going straight to like.
So if y'all want to get y'all little ass slapped up, punched up, stomped out, leave your phone in the car, man. No videos, no pictures, man, for real.
Things just got real. Tokari Hatch, Boosie Badass's brother, has finally broken his silence, and what he's saying is wild. He claims the assassination of Duke the Jeweler wasn't random at all. In fact, he says it was an inside job, and here's the twist. He's pointing the finger at his own brother. He's not just talking either. Tokari came with receipts. He's got text messages, voice notes, and a timeline that lays out a messy story of betrayal, jealousy, and money. Now the internet is going crazy. Boosie, he's not backing down. He fired back, denying everything. According to him, his brother is just making stuff up to stir drama. This video is breaking it all down. The drama, the receipts, and the big question. Was Duke the Jeweler really set up by someone he trusted? And is this family fallout about to destroy Boosie's rep? Here's what we know so far.
We met that dude, Duke the Jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his... tried to get him or whatever, but Vlad, bro, if anybody know me, bro, that ain't my stilo, bro. You know what I'm saying? That ain't how I get down, bro. Like, that ain't how...
Mention that's there. What he did say in that video when people were saying his cousin did it was that Duke the Jeweler contacted one of his homies, or whatever, however they want to say it. He said, on the...
Look at Jay Prince Jr. grabby eyes. All up in that nigga, all pocket watching, Boosie pocket watching. How y'all rap nigga pocket watching the jeweler?
Tokari's gone public with his side of the story, saying Boosie had something to do with setting up Duke. He's sharing messages and conversations that hint at something deeper going on. Meanwhile, Boosie stepped in and made his stance clear. The whole thing's gotten messy, and people are starting to ask, is Boosie's crew as clean as they say?
We listening to Boosie, we getting it straight from the horse's mouth. In this same interview, he stated that they didn't get nothing from that boy. So what the hell is he buying back if they didn't get nothing off of him? They want to try to spin this narrative and make...
Duke's life ended in Houston right after a dice game where he supposedly won big. But what makes this really suspicious is that he had been seen hanging around with Boosie just before everything went down. He even posted a pic of them on Instagram, one of the last photos before his demise. Boosie, though, keeps saying he barely knew the guy. He claimed Duke just popped up at one of his shows and left on his own afterward.
He also explained that some guy had tried to rob Duke and that Duke had walked away alone. Boosie said he had only met Duke the day before.
Nope. I ain't feeling good. No, I ain't feeling good. You want to die? Do you want to die? Who gonna be my opponent? That's how I feel right now. Who gonna be next? That's the question.
Later, on Vlad TV, Boosie tried to clear the air. He said again that he had no part in Duke's passing and didn't really know him. According to him, they met at a dice game, talked a little, and then, just like that, Duke's life ended. Boosie even admitted that it could have been him if things had played out differently. He said the whole thing shook him up.
And so like, make you a go piece. Dude was cool. So the next day, dude hit my partner like, man, y'all got the concert. Let us trail y'all. Woo-de-woo. So dude went with us to the concert. And after I come off stage, everybody leaving. You know, we parked under the parking lot, under the arena where the celebrities parking and all. He was in another car. He walked to his car. His car was outside the arena under where we was. It was on side the parking lot, so he had to walk to his car. And that's where the incident took place when somebody, you know, tried to get him or whatever. But Vlad, bro, if anybody know me, bro, that ain't my stilo, bro. You know what I'm saying? That ain't how I get down, bro. Like, that ain't how none of my people get down.
Boosie claims Duke left the game on his own and was headed to the parking lot when he got ambushed. He's adamant that he wasn't around when it happened and insists that his crew would never pull something like that. In his words, they got too much going on for them to be out here setting people up over dice game wins. But here's what's got people talking. No one's really buying Boosie's version of the story. He might be saying everything right, but the streets, they're not convinced. The fact that Duke was seen hanging with Boosie right before he passed away, that's not something folks are brushing off as coincidence. It looks suspicious, and people are calling it what it is, a red flag. Even Boosie seems to know how bad it looks. He's been doubling down, trying to explain that the rumors don't match who he is. But when you've got to say that much to prove you're not involved, it only makes people more suspicious. One interview in particular had everyone doing a double take. Boosie was trying to clear the air, but instead, it had people questioning if there's more going on behind the scenes. Let's be real. His crew isn't known for moving recklessly unless there's something serious at play. Boosie even said his people are doing well financially, so it doesn't make sense that they'd risk everything over some quick money, unless there's something he's not telling us. And the drama doesn't stop there. His brother, TQ, has been putting him on blast too. These two have had a messy history, family drama, fraud accusations, and claims of favoritism. Now, TQ's stepping back into the spotlight, saying he's got proof that Duke was set up. The big question is, why now? Why is TQ talking? Some folks think Boosie's name might be more tangled up in this than he wants people to know. And the deeper this thing goes, the more it starts to feel like the truth is buried under a whole pile of drama. Let's rewind for a second and look at what happened to Duke the jeweler. Duke was a well-known jeweler out of Chicago. Big reputation, big money. He flew into Houston for Labor Day weekend back in 2022, and word was he came out there to do business with Boosie. He was reportedly carrying over $1 million in jewelry and cash. That same day, he hit up a celebrity boxing match and later showed up at a private dice game. Boosie and some others were there too. Boosie said it a few times. Duke went hard at the dice table, but in the end, he didn't win anything. Still, Boosie claimed Duke was cool about it. No bad vibes. Even though he'd lost a serious chunk of cash, he stayed calm and respectful.
Hey, the internet, y'all got us all the way up. We met that dude, Duke the jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried to rob him and kill him. What the hell, my 19-year-old cousin gonna try to rob and kill him? Bro, we getting money, man. We getting money. That ain't our stilo. As a boss, I ain't letting that go down.
So he
like
said some random ass nigga was watching
this
these
dude finna
niggas.
make me a piece. So y'all need to
It's bad low, man. Don't put us in nothing with no bad low. It's bad low, man.
So they said that nigga won a whole bunch of money on Duke Jeweler.
Straight up bad.
And nigga was about to leave, and somebody ambushed that nigga.
At one point, Boosie even asked Duke to design a diamond chain for him. Duke was down and said he'd hook him up with something special. The very next day, Boosie had a concert. Duke showed up again, but after the event, he left by himself to head back to his car. He never made it. According to witnesses, two men jumped out of a black GMC, ran up on Duke, and fired him. They took his jewelry and his bag before taking off. It looked fast, targeted, and way too clean to be random. Since then, Boosie's been repeating the same defense. It wasn't him, and it wasn't his people. He said Duke left the venue alone, and that someone must have been watching him from the start, just waiting for the right moment to strike.
That's how it be.
Now the feds are involved, trying to piece together who was in that room and whether this whole thing was a setup. But let's be real, there are no charges, no suspects, no solid answers. Duke's belongings are still missing. And while Boosie keeps talking, he hasn't said anything that really clears his name.
Boosie.
One reason people are slow to defend Boosie is the timing. Right after Duke got assassinated, Boosie was pulled over. At first, it looked like just another traffic stop. But considering it happened right after the robbery and shooting, folks online immediately started putting pieces together. When the Fed stepped in, they made it clear this wasn't some typical rapper drama. They announced it was a separate investigation. No delays, no distractions. Boosie isn't just some witness anymore. They're watching him closely. And Duke's brother Stax isn't mincing words either. He called it exactly how he sees it, a setup. No soft language, no guesswork. He said straight up that he believes Boosie lined his brother up.
Y'all finna be at the service tomorrow for Duke. Leave your phones in the car, man. The family don't want no phones, man. We ain't got time. No pictures, no videos. No. Then leave your phones in the car, man. The family asking for no pictures, no record. Then, man. So if y'all want to get y'all little ass slapped up, punched up, stomped out, leave your phone in the car, man. No videos, no pictures, man, for real. The right way for bro. And respect the family, man. Wishes, man. Simple as that, man. Leave the phones in the car.
Stax has been digging.
Alright, we're back. So y'all seen in the beginning of all this shit, man. Cassie, man, and Diddy, man, that shit gonna go on for histories. Even after the court case. After the court case is done and everybody find out what's going on, this and that, and they do what they do, it's still gonna go on because it's that much shit that's like have not been talked about. And I feel like Boosie is like, man, you know, you can see when somebody's scorned, hateful, and revengeful, and they'll do anything impossible to try to fuck you up and your new life. And I feel like that's what Cassie doing, man. You know what I'm saying? Boosie see right through that shit, man. Also, we've been talking about that murder. This man, like I said, man, a lot of these shit, man, you know, they would try to put random bodies on people, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you lit and, you know, you the biggest name in the shit. You know what I'm saying? If they can't find nobody and they really ain't got no evidence or nothing, they would do anything to put something on a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times, that's why when they go to court and they fight against the case and they win their case, because half the shit they saying don't even add up to what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have nothing involved in the shit. Like, even with the Duke shit, you know what I'm saying? A lot of this shit, man, people don't understand, nigga. This is the streets, nigga. Like, you come down to Texas, yes, nigga. Houston, nigga. You go down to Texas and anywhere that's in the hood, nigga, yes, it's gonna be like motherfuckers looking around at every corner, seeing every location. Like, this is not no just people think. All they think it's like this shit, like the suburbs or like on some just like, you know what I'm saying, some acting shit. No, niggas really be is like potential danger. Like shit can happen. You know what I'm saying? It's always another motherfucker out, like, looking, like, on some bullshit. Like, it's dangerous, nigga. Like, you feel me? Like, just because Boosie was with the motherfucker don't mean that there wasn't other motherfuckers who were looking at that motherfucker way before, you know what I'm saying, Boosie. So I'm just saying, man, a lot of shit, man, we can't, I feel like they're just trying to have something to say. You know what I'm saying? You know, I can't say whether it was really not, but I'm going to say that a lot of shit, man, You can't really 100% say, oh yeah, he did this or he did that or this and that, because a lot of times, man, it's a lot of shit out there that can like could really go down like at any instant, and it can be done by anybody, literally by the government, by CIA, by anybody. I mean, we out the bitch hood and outside big crip gang.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. You know this instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.